breaking news. Meeting of the century. North Korea media hails Kim Jong-un as victor of Trump summit. Kim Jong-un was the victor of the historic summit with U.S. President Donald Trump, North Korean state media has declared. Despite being regarded as a first step towards denuclearization, the North Korean supreme leader was credited for creating conditions for peace following his historic meeting on Tuesday with Donald Trump. State-controlled media in North Korea hailed the summit between Mr. Trump and Kim as a sign of ending extreme hostile relations with the U.S. KCNA news agency depicted Kim as a hero, responsible for securing a diplomatic victory for the country. The state media said talks were epoch-making and would help to kickstart a radical switch over in the most hostile, North Korea-U.S. relations. KCNA said Mr. Trump appreciated that an atmosphere of peace and stability was created on the Korean peninsula and in the region, although distressed with the extreme danger of armed clash only a few months ago, thanks to the proactive peace-loving measures taken by the respected supreme leader from the outset of this year. The propaganda machine also focused on the leader's rapid transformation from dictator to statesman following the positive reception he received in Singapore when he arrived for the summit. KCNA said, Singapore, the country of the epoch-making meeting much awaited by the whole world, was awash with thousands of domestic and foreign journalists and a large crowd of masses to see this day's moment, which will remain long in history, it said. And Kim's media machine told the North Korean public how Mr. Trump has reciprocated the offer of Kim visiting the U.S. in a state visit. It said, the two top leaders gladly accepted each other's invitation, convinced that it would serve as another important occasion for improved DPRK-U.S. relations, it said, referencing the country's official name, the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. As Mr. Trump returned to the U.S., he tweeted that Pyongyang no longer posed a nuclear threat, despite critics saying the U.S. president's comments were premature. The U.S. president said, just landed, a long trip, but everybody can now feel much safer than the day I took office. There is no longer a nuclear threat from North Korea. Meeting with Kim Jong-un was an interesting and very positive experience. North Korea has great potential for the future. The Rodong Sinmun, the ruling Workers' Party newspaper, focused on photographs of Kim and Mr. Trump shaking hands. Following the summit on Tuesday, a joint statement between the two leaders also revealed U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo and officials from the North would follow up on negotiations at the earliest possible date. In return, Mr. Trump, to the surprise of U.S. ally South Korea and his own military, said he would end joint U.S.-South Korea military exercises. The U.S. president said the drills would not be held while talks were ongoing. Mr. Trump told Fox News, "We're not going to be doing the war games as long as we're negotiating in good faith." However, South Korean officials said they had no prior knowledge of the end of military exercises, pointing out that they were vital to East Asian security. South Korean Minister of Defense, Itsunori Onodera, said, "We would like to seek an understanding of this between Japan, the U.S. and South Korea." And in spite of Mr. Trump's announcement, Onodera said that Japan would continue its military exercises with the U.S. and will continue to improve defenses against any possible North Korean strike. On Wednesday, Mr. Trump took to Twitter, saying, "The world has taken a big step back from potential nuclear catastrophe. No more rocket launches, nuclear testing or research. The hostages are back home with their families. Thank you to Chairman Kim, our day together was historic." However, some are still wary of the nature of the summit, with some saying the document signed between the two leaders looks scarily like a draft agreement. Melissa Hannum of the Center for Non-Proliferation Studies pointed out on Twitter that the North Korean regime had already promised to do this many times. Ms. Hannum also said the U.S. and North Korea still don't agree on what denuclearization means. God please.